Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Cafecito with Christiana. I'm your host, Christiana. I am so excited to bring to you these web series. Again, it's so important for us to connect with those of us in the community that are doing our best during these COVID challenging times like we all are in, and just finding our creative voice. Some of us are finding our voice just in general, but whatever it is that you're doing during this time, just know that you are a extraordinary individual. We are so inspired when we hear of stories where people are changing the narrative for what once was to something more positive. And so again, that's what the Cafecito is all about, where we are highlighting everyday people doing extraordinary things. And it just makes me so happy just to do this. So shout out to We The Plug. They're our sponsor. I am not just a partner of the organization, but I also work in the company as well as COO. And if you haven't checked us out, definitely find us. We're at We The Plug, THA, not THE.com. So without further ado, I want to welcome Noor. Does anyone ever sing your name?
Anyone ever see my name?
Sing.
Oh, sing? I've never heard it sung before, but you do a beautiful job of it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. But your name is so pretty, Noor. Noor. Like, I just like saying it. So what does it mean, by the way?
It means light. My mom is Iranian, and it's Farsi.
Oh, because you are the light. Oh my, you guys, listen, we're about to get into it and all that she does, and you will understand more of why her name is such a representation of who she is. Oh my gosh, I love that. So, Noor, go ahead, tell the people who you are and what you do.
So my name is Noor Sugrue. I'm the founder of a company called Vintro. And what Vintro is all about is we're about connecting people with great ideas, with the people resources that they need to bring their ideas to life. You know, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter where you are in the world, if you have a great idea and you have the ability to execute it, I mean, I believe you deserve a shot. No one has a monopoly on good ideas.
First of all, thank you so much for talking about it in such a way where you out the gate are saying, oh, this is an even playing field. And we're going to get into your whole background into how you even developed this. But is this your first company that you've launched, by the way?
It is. First time entrepreneur.
Yo, you guys, you understand that there is no limits. You can do whatever you want. I mean, Noor, let's just get into it. So how did you get from this idea to actually executing it? Like how did you get here?
Yeah, honestly, it's been a really crazy, almost 3 years now. I founded Vintro in January of 2018, but the idea was born over the holidays of 2017. And at the time, I was still in high school, and that was just like world of craziness.
Did you say you were in high school when you came up with this idea? Y'all, there's no excuse. He was in high school. That was 3 years ago. Do the math. See what I'm saying? Come on, Noor. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, so I was still in high school, and I didn't really grow up with a lot of TV around, but I was with my family over the holidays, and it was the first time that we'd all seen the show Shark Tank. And my family was getting super animated, super excited about it. This person should get this deal, and this isn't competitive enough. And for me, what was the most important part of that whole experience, besides, being super inspired by amazing ideas I was seeing on TV, was, to me, the amazing ideas I wasn't seeing on TV. Mm-hmm. And, you do research, you find out that 45,000 people applied to be on the show, and less than 1% make it on. And that's more competitive than trying to get into Harvard. That's just insane. And, you think about all those ideas that never made it onto the show, and you think, out of those 45,000 people, I mean, how many of those have the next idea that just needs a helping hand? You know, we were all in that position where, you know, people come up with good ideas every single day, but it depends on, you know, the team you surround yourself with, who you have to help you out. You know, how far you decide to take this is really what like will set it apart.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that is incredible. I mean, there's how often have we all seen or watched something or engaged with something and just was frustrated with the process or thought, oh my gosh, we could totally make this better, but didn't act upon it. And for you to have been in high school and just was like, I'm going to do this. Which, side note, real quick, it's so interesting. I just put into context right now what you were saying about when you launched this in 2018, but the idea came to you in 2017. I'm a firm believer that there was a lot of folks that were transitioning in 2017, near the end of 2017. It was a pivotal time for me as well. And I actually started my entrepreneurial journey in 2018 as well, but based on what transpired the end of 2017 for me. So I love that that connection with you. So you see this, you have this idea of, I need to address the gap between the number of people that get on this show. Very popular show, right? Everyone loves to watch it. It's very entertaining, and you learn a lot, right? But you were more concerned with the ones that were left behind. And so, what did you do about that? Like, how did you know where to start?
Yeah, you know, it's so funny because I understand, you know, the struggles that a lot of first time entrepreneurs going through, and especially as someone who is so young, that question, you know, how do you know where to start? It can be super overwhelming. And I mean, even it's like things that seem just so basic, you're like, how do I incorporate a business? How do I incorporate a company? You know, even just that, you're like, okay, what number do I call for this? Like, where's the helpline? You know, like, what is this? You know? And so
Exactly.
I totally get it. Like, and it, you know, for us as well, it started off, you know, we were talking to people who control resources and we were asking them, you know, why, you know, it's so funny. I was actually on the phone with a VC yesterday. We don't just deal with VCs, we kind of run the gamut, but to take one specific example, I was on the phone with a VC yesterday and she was telling me, she goes, look, I get 200 emails a day. I'm a human being. There's just no way that I can read my email and read through it. Like as a human, like it's just, oh, it's too overwhelming for me. And so for what Vintro does, it's a marketplace where you're able to pay for guaranteed, you know, engagements, connections with, you know, some of the world's most inaccessible people in a more efficient and cost-effective way than ever before. But for our reviewers, you know, these are people who, you know, they want to be able to give back to the industries that brought them up. They want to be hearing new ideas, but there just hasn't been a way for them to do that that protects both their privacy and their time. So this is kind of like a win-win situation because, you know, it's part of this issue as well is just that it's like there's never enough time, you know, as someone who's like running a business myself, you understand like your needs, there's no end to what your needs are, but supply is, you know, limited, so but demand is not. So that's kind of how we got started from there.
Wow. So it seems like you saw a need, right? The issue with the number of founders who and startups who were just kind of left out in the cold, and then you saw a pain point, which is really important for you all to pay attention to. She saw a need, but then she saw a pain point, and the pain point was with VCs who were inundated with emails and probably DMs and wherever else they exist in the social media sphere, and it's something that they are struggling with, right? And so you came in with Vintro and you said, "What I can do."
I can create a marketplace where you are able, now it's like, and think about it, like instead of having to wait in line for, you know, hours, weeks, months, sometimes even years to get in contact with these people, it's like it's cutting the line. It's like saying, you know, I actually like don't have the time, the energy, the money to keep wasting while I'm sitting here while, you know, like for entrepreneurs, like you sit there every single day, you're trying to get meetings with people. Meanwhile, there's all these costs associated with that. I'm still having to pay, if you have an office, you're still paying the rent for your office, you're still paying your own rent for your own live, you're still paying your grocery bills. These are real checks that you're writing every single month, and that all adds up. So for most people starting businesses, you just don't have the time or energy to waste trying to get meetings with these people. So this allows you to kind of bypass all that and say, look, for a cheaper amount of money than it would take me to actually try to go get meetings with these people, I create a 60 to 90-second pitch video detailing, who you are, what my background is, what my opportunity is, and the most important part is what is your ask? What are you looking for from this person? And you're going to get guaranteed engagements from them. You're going to get responses. You're going to get, the most important part for me at least is a big aspect of it is feedback too. Because yes, you can continue the conversation, you can do business. Yeses are great. We love yeses. But something that's really important to note as well is the no's are so incredibly valuable. Like, one of the most painful parts for me when I was starting this business was, we were going through the same struggles as everyone else. We were cold emailing people, cold calling people, and we were actually so grateful for the people who took time to tell us no, because once you're on the phone with them, you can be like, okay, but why? Right. And then you can say, maybe it was something fundamental in the idea, maybe it was just my delivery was off. But now I know that, so I can go back, rework it, and turn a no into a yes in the future. But without that knowledge, you're kind of left with nothing. For example, I'll just give you an example. We had to fly to VC. We had to fly to VC. We had to fly to San Francisco to go meet with a VC. I'm here in Chicago right now. But that weekend, obviously, I'm also a student. So that weekend, I had to leave class early. I had to take an Uber. I had to pay for a plane ticket. I also had to pay for a hotel. And at the end of that weekend, we had someone tell us no. And of course, you get the really polite, well, this isn't really for us, but right. That's just not helpful. Right. And on top of that, we're left at about $5,000 short. So when you think about the real costs associated with getting meetings, it's not cheap and it's not quick. My entire weekend was gone. I could have spent that weekend doing something so much more valuable for my business and really focusing on the concept and the idea and really perfecting that rather than wasting all that time, energy, effort, and money.
So for the consumer who's listening right now or the founder, the startup that's listening right now, and they're like, okay, so hold on, wait a minute, let me slow this down. So what you're telling me is that I have access to VCs at the drop of a dime. Like, I have access to them. No barriers. The only thing is I just have to select which payment method that I want to go through, and then I get access to them.
Yeah, I think there's a few things that I'd like to mention, just some of what you just mentioned as well. It's not just VCs. We have PE firms, we have high net worth individuals, we have family offices, because we recognize, not every business is the same. Not every business's needs are the same. This conversation, I've really mentioned VCs now, but that's not our only use case. Not every business is actually looking for investment. When I mentioned, when I first got started, I didn't even know how to incorporate a company. Those are real things. Sometimes you just need someone to say, this is where you need to go, and you need that advice. If you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking for a referral, if you're even a larger company looking to be procured, we kind of fill those gaps. And the other thing to point is it's about, you taking back control of your journey as an entrepreneur. Because so many times, if you even go to incubators, you go to startup competitions, there is usually some sort of promise of investment, but from who, when you're starting off as a business, it's really important to consider where you're taking your money from. And, a lot of time for businesses, you don't have the luxury of taking that control of that and the narrative of that part of your journey. And this allows you to do just that. And the other thing I'd want to mention as well, because you mentioned payment methods, is this is really about, I think we all know, and I think it's especially being highlighted now with everything going on in the world, but the playing field is not level. This is about, trying to level the playing field just a little bit more. We're just trying to do whatever we can to make it more level. And, we understand that while this is a more cost-effective way than trying to go about getting meetings with people in the real world, price is still a barrier for a lot of people.
Mhm.
So we have something called Vintro for Volunteers, which allows people to exchange charitable service hours instead of money on the platform. Because that's really the important part, was the exchange, right? Because for our reviewers, they want to make sure that, there needs to be some sort of trade happening, like on a marketplace, that will allow their door to stay a little bit open while not completely open where they get overwhelmed. And so as long as that's happening, then the system works. So for us, another way to do that besides money was through charitable service hours. So say, I'm just making up an example.
Sure, yeah.
Rick Haythornthwaite, who's the current chairman of MasterCard, and he's on the platform today. Say I want to get in front of Rick. Maybe I don't have the money to pay for that interaction right now. But you know what? I have some time this weekend. I can go clean up a beach for 15 hours and I can get in front of Rick Haythornthwaite. And Rick loves that because it allows him to amplify, 5 minutes of his time into real good being put out into the world.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You know what? What you're doing is so innovative because not only are you providing access to a group that has eluded many who are in underrepresented communities, but also you are creating opportunity for those that, to your point, may not have the capital in order to get in front of, even if it's a small amount, considering the resume of these individuals. You have, with your team, come up with another way of closing that gap and saying, hey, look, there are many different ways to get to the end, and here's one that will cost you in a different way, and it's a way that's going to have a social impact in a positive way on not just you, because one of the things that I think we're becoming more are waking up more to, I think, as a society as a whole, is to think outside of just self. So increasing our emotional intelligence to recognize that everything we think, do, say, infringes on everyone that is coexisting in this space with us. And so I appreciate that that is an option for individuals, because you're giving back. You're paying it forward on multiple levels. So when you let's walk me through like what that looks like. So when someone comes in and they are they get on the platform, so they are looking to be in front of a VC. So walk me through what that would look like.
Sure. So, either people come to us and they already have someone in mind that they want to pitch to, or maybe they don't yet. But we have a filter system on our platform, and all of the reviewers on our platform have selected, what fields they're interested in seeing ideas from. They have a part on their profile where they talk a little about their background and the kind of resources they're willing to provide. So some are saying for investment, some just say I'm here to be a mentor. Most of them are a combination of either investment, mentorship, referrals, or procurement. But say we're interested in VCs. So I come to the platform and I select the people I want to pitch to. Some people come to us and, as I mentioned, they have a specific person in mind, and that's great. But for most people, we don't typically recommend people do that because it's putting all your eggs in one basket if you only go with one specific person. Mm-hmm. So you pick the people you want to pitch to. You make a short, 60 to 90 second pitch video. As I mentioned, you talk about your background, what inspired you to create your business, what is the opportunity you're providing, and what is your ask. So say I'm looking to raise X amount in my Series A. You upload the pitch to your profile in a very similar method, and then you check out just kind of like in a normal e-commerce way. That pitch gets sent to our team for moderation, just to make sure that there's no nudity, no foul language, obviously nothing inappropriate, which it's never been an issue, but that gets sent across to our reviewers, who they all have an app on their phone called the Vintro Reviewer app. It's available on Apple and Android today. and they get a notification on their phone letting them know that they have a pitch waiting to review. And they'll give you your feedback. They'll tell you, what they love about this opportunity, things you need to consider. Have you thought about this? A lot of them will even say, oh, get in contact with this person. I'll give you their email because I think that they also would love to hear from you. And the most important part as well is, do they want to continue the conversation further with you? Have you engaged them? Have you hooked them enough that they actually want to continue the conversation further, more than just at this one interaction? So at that point, they click a button, which basically says continue the conversation further, and a chat pops up. And at that point, you're talking directly with the reviewer. You can exchange more information, you can send them documents, you can put your email in there and set up a time for a call, and everything at that point is on your own time, free of charge. So we facilitate the introduction.
Wow, that is, the process is just flawless. Over the spring, before COVID really hit, there was a large event that we went to. I won't put the name out there, but one of the frustrations, and it was a global event, so everyone from around the world was there. One of the frustrations that was shared was that there was this app that gave you the ability to interact and request to connect, and there was no response from the VCs that they reached out to, even though they were on the app and gave out their content. And it may have been part of what you were sharing earlier, where they were inundated, or maybe they didn't download the app, it wasn't facilitated properly. But what I appreciate about your process is that every piece of the puzzle is connected to a live person that's tracking it to ensure that it's handed off properly. I think that helps to ensure the consumer that, okay, I'm connecting, I'm getting a result, even if the result is not what I desire, which is the yes, the ultimate yes. What you explained earlier is the value of understanding the not yet or no, or I'm passing, with a little bit more context to it, to say, okay, let me go back and do a little bit more work on my end. So what about the person who is not looking for investment right away, but they are looking to better understand the structure of their company and setting it up properly to get to the point where they would like to pitch? What is available to them?
It's so funny. As we've been out there and as we have been having interactions, I've been personally on the phone with each and every single one of our buyers, and I've heard about their businesses and what their needs are. That's been super valuable and super interesting for me to hear about, how we are helping people and how we are making a difference. But something that's been super interesting for me is I was actually this morning on the phone with one of our buyers, and he as well is a first-time entrepreneur. So I totally relate to that experience, and I understand the hardships of it. And he was very much in a similar boat. He was like, I have this idea, and he was really, really early on. And, he was someone that I'd actually spoken to with him in the past, and he'd made a connection on Vintro. And it was funny because that person said no, but he came back to me and said, look, this was so valuable because up to this point, the only people I had to bounce my idea off of was like my mom and my dad. And, of course they're going to tell me like, oh, your idea is great. Like, so he was like, it was so good to have like that raw, unfiltered feedback. And he actually put another order in this morning, and he was able to go back to the same person and say, look, I so appreciate what you said to me because it really helped me pivot. And I realized that, maybe I was thinking about this problem in the wrong way. And now I'm here today. So that's been something that's really, really interesting is, not every business is the same. That's something that's really, really important to stress, because even when I think about my journey, the people that you meet, the people that make up your business, the people on your team, on your side, are the most important people. I mean, I can't even stress enough. This Vintro would not be at all where it is today without the people that make this team up. And it's been such a pleasure working with them and have the support. And, we're all working towards one common goal. We're all really passionate. We all believe in this mission so much. But if at the beginning, I didn't know how to meet people to build up a team. how do you do that? We have people on the platform who come and say, look, like I'm looking for someone to join my board of advisors. Would you please, this is what I'm doing. Would you please consider having another call with me to talk about it? And so that's really important. You know, people who are looking to have a mentor, to have a helping hand, to have guidance. It's really important part of an entrepreneur's journey.
That is so true. And I love how you give like a very clear pathway for someone that's coming on to say, you know, if you're in this early stage space, these are the features that you would best fit with. And then kind of, again, you know, connect them and, you know, to the next space that they would best fit in. So when I get the yes, because you know we always positive. So
Love
when I
yeses,
get
yes.
yes, when I get the yes, that then is handed. You know, then I move. I've already moved to the direct chat with them, and then everything is negotiated on a separate platform or handled outside of Vintro, or is it still housed inside of Vintro?
So the chat itself is housed on the platform just because, you know, at that stage as well, the privacy of our viewers is something that is a concern for us and that we always want to make sure that they feel protected.
Yeah.
So but at that point, once they're in the chat, if the reviewer does want to, you know, put their phone number in there or take it off the platform, they're free to do so. If that conversation stays on the platform, they're also free to pursue it that way. But at that point, anything in the chat and any business that happens, I mean, that is all to the credit of our amazing entrepreneurs. So.
Wow. Okay. So now the pricing. Let's go back to that because again, I think it's really important for us to showcase how you can get in front of someone at a price point that is really pleasing to the pocket, right? So give a range, if you will, of what the low end and then, you know, something on the high end that someone could expect.
So the first thing to preface all this with is, you know, all of our prices are decided by our reviewers. So we have nothing to do with the pricing and that's completely up to them. But 70% of the platform is between $25 to $300. So that's where the vast majority lies. And within that, you know, there's incredible value to be found from even like, I think of our corporates as well. For example, there's a woman on the platform, her name is Diana Scotta, and she's the head of R&D at Clorox, and she's $45. Now, if I were to try to go meet with her in person, like my Uber would be more expensive than that. Yeah.
And I more than likely would probably not even get the time with her because, you know, things come up. But in this instance, there's a commitment on their part to keep. And that's really nice. So again, if you all are looking at, you know, pricing and all of that, there's such a wide range, which I think is so important. Again, when you are breaking into this space and you're trying to figure out which direction to go in, it's just a really great resource. And something else to add on to what you were sharing right now is that oftentimes when you're in the early stage, you're still trying to figure out how to pitch. So to be able to hone your pitching skills even through what you all are doing, have created, I think is so valuable. Talk a little bit about who are some of the people, you've shared some, but who are some people who are on the platform, just so people really understand, like these are no small, you know, name people. These are people who really have established careers.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned on this call before, Rick Haythornthwaite, who's the chairman of MasterCard. Just trying to think of people off the top of my head. Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank, it was super exciting for me because that's how this all got started. I'm just trying to think. Art Collins, who's the former chairman of Medtronic, just to name a few, but I'm blanking. I mentioned Diana Scotta, who's the head of R&D at Clorox. We have people from McDonald's. We have people from, you know, Aetna. We kind of run the gamut in terms of the sectors we're in, and the network is growing each and every single day because, you know, startups are being born in different sectors each and every single day, you know. So it's been a really big part of this journey has been building this network and curating it to be what it is today, to be able to provide the best possible value to our customers. So, it's been a grind because we've had to go through the same struggles that every other entrepreneur has to go through, trying to get in front of these people and trying to get people to pay attention to you and trying to say, please listen to me. I actually have something worth saying. And as I mentioned, when you do get answers you're not necessarily happy with, take that as well on board and to be like, okay, maybe I'm not happy with it today, but what can I learn from this experience? Because that just because someone says no to you doesn't mean that this is at all in any way, shape, or form over in the long, big picture of things.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I really appreciate how widespread you all reach in regards to different sectors, because there are people who, especially in the social impact space, that are looking to connect, but don't really know where to go because there's not a whole lot out there right now about that. There's a lot in the tech space and the bios space, and but there are some areas that are just not as well highlighted. So it's really great that you all have been able to identify. Is it easily categorized on the platform? So like when you're searching on there, you can search by category as well as name as well?
You can. There is a search. You can easily go through all that. We also have a pretty robust filter system where you can just click on the industry you're in, the industry vertical. You can filter by price as well, just based on what your needs are. You can also click on things like, I am looking for investors who are interested in a Series A, so I can even get that granular with it. So everything we're doing is really trying to pair you and give you control over your journey as an entrepreneur. Who's your dream person? What are you looking for? What's the ideal? It's not like, what are you settling for? It's what's your ideal.
I love it. I love it. So then once, you access the platform and you're on there and you're figuring out which best fits your need, are there opportunities to interface with other people on the platform as well? And when I say other people, I mean other founders.
That aspect of the platform is not currently built out today, but I think it's definitely something that we need to think about because, startups, there's so much knowledge in that field that can be shared and I think needs to be shared. And what you guys are doing is a huge part of that. I absolutely love what you guys are doing with Be The Plug. It's a space that needs to be developed. And I think we're seeing that in the world today. And, we do have people on the platform who have founded businesses in the past. So there is that aspect. But in terms of current startups, that's not the most developed section of the platform. But that's also because, it is such an area that it's hard to get to, because when people are in that position of they're looking for help, sometimes it's scary for people to come and say, I need help, and that's something that even me, when I was starting out, it was something I had to come to terms and accept. No one can do everything alone. We all need help, and it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah, it's, I think, one of the best things that you can do for yourself, which is own your shortcomings and be willing to be transparent with the areas that you are deficient in. I'm excited because for us, as you are a member of We The Plug, we also now have partnered together with Vintro. So for those who are wanting to connect and try out the platform, if you are a WTP member, you're able to get a 10% discount on your selected service. So definitely check out more on the website. And I think as you all are still building out, as we are as well, our platform, what's really nice is that we do offer that interface with founders to be able to have the dialogue with each other to, try ideas off each other, or maybe even find ways where they can partner together. So being able to bridge what we do with what you do, it just made complete sense. So when you're looking at what you've accomplished thus far and where you see Vintro going, give me a little peek into the future. Give me a little insider. Where are you going with this? Where do you want to go with this?
things are definitely crazy right now. We are going through a round of funding right now, which has made everyone's life a little hectic at the moment. But my chief concern at the moment really has been making sure that everyone's having rewarding engagements on the platform. If any We the Plug member wants to reach out to me on there, please. I'm always around to answer any questions. I'm always willing to take calls with anyone and hear more about your journey too. And that's really what it's all been about for me. It's been about, talking to the entrepreneurs, hearing about their businesses, how they got started, what their needs are. And on the other end as well, as making sure that our reviewers are hearing, really intellectually stimulating ideas, and that they're being interested, because that's what it's about for them as well, is that they want to hear new ideas. They want to be, in the up and coming spaces. They want to see what's out there. But so for me, it's about making sure that everyone on both sides has been really happy and satisfied, and also growing from this experience on both sides.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So what is your call to action for those that are watching that want to connect and be a part of this, but also, those that may be kind of struggling out there in this new norm? What are your thoughts to share?
I mean, please go check out the website. It's myvintro.com. And for any We the Plug member out there, send me a message on the platform. I would love to hear from you and learn more about you and your journey. And I mean, this is all it's about. It's about helping people grow and taking back control of their own journey. So anything that I can do to help facilitate that, I see as I'm doing my job. As long as I'm helping other people succeed, then I'm doing something right.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love your spirit, the tenacity behind all of this, because it's not an easy journey. I mean, what you're building out, it's a labor of love. You said that you all are currently going through a round of raising funds right now. So is that open as well? You're putting that call out to anyone that's looking to invest as well?
I'd be more than happy to hear if anyone's open to investing. I mean, I don't think anyone has a problem listening to when people are offering them money,
Right.
Especially with startups, But I've been pretty lucky that I've been very cautious, and this is actually a lesson I'd give to other entrepreneurs as well, is to be cautious about where you're taking your money from, and to not just jump at every opportunity that comes, because I've been trying to think about the long-term health of this business and what's best and how to take strategic money. And that's probably one of the best pieces of advice I could give any entrepreneur, because, you think like you have this great idea, but it's really all the behind the scenes stuff that really makes a business run and makes a company run. And so that's actually, for me personally, one of the things that I've needed the most guidance and the most advice and the most help from. And so that's my one piece of advice, is think about your business in the long term, not just what you need that now. And even if that means, turning down money from an investor that maybe wasn't the right fit, maybe it'll pay off in the long run of your business. And I think odds are it most likely will.
Noor, well said. And I will end on that. Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at myvintro, and all other social media platforms on the same. For We the Plug members, you can also find me there, and feel free to send me a message, and I'd love to hear from you. I really would. I can't stress that enough.
She means it. She engages immediately with you. Noor, thank you so much for taking out the time. I mean, I know there's a lot going on your end, and you are several hours ahead, being in Chicago, but I do appreciate you taking out the time to connect with us today. And I am excited about our partnership and connecting those members who would just be such a great fit for what you're doing. So you all definitely check her out on the platform under Noor. You can also find her on the social media platforms that she had mentioned. And again, if you're not on the platform, sign up under wethepplug.com, click membership, and follow the directions from there. Thanks for joining us today. Have a good one. Bye-bye.